Welcome to Men's Ministry Monday. This month's episode has layers. What do I mean by that? Well, of course, we are working through the book A Few Good Men by Stan Gleason, which is adapted from a series of sermons that he has preached at different men's events over the years. Okay, so we're working on a book that's based on a sermon. Well, this particular sermon is adapted from a book. It's called The Blessing by Gary Smalley and John Trent. And so this video is recapping a chapter in a book that is based on a sermon that is based on a book. And of course, the book itself draws inspiration from the book, the Holy Bible. And so we've got layers. Now, the title for this particular lesson is How a Man Blesses His Family. I don't know about you, but that's something that I want to be. I want to be a blessing to my family. So let's get into how Brother Gleason, again adapting from The Blessing by Gary Smalley and John Trent, describes how a man can bless his family. So a quick excerpt from The Blessing by Gary Smalley and John Trent. It says, "No matter your age, the approval of your parents affects how you view yourself and your ability to pass that approval along to your children, spouse, and friends. Many people spend a lifetime looking for this acceptance the Bible calls the blessing." And so, of course, famously in the Bible, there is the story of Jacob and Esau. Now, Esau sold his birthright to Jacob, and that didn't seem like such a big thing. However, later on in the story, Jacob goes and deceives his father Isaac and steals the blessing. And after it's revealed to Esau that Isaac has blessed Jacob, Esau is distraught. He's so upset, crying out, saying, "Father, isn't there a blessing for me? Don't you have more than one blessing?" And so the authors and Brother Gleason do take inspiration from this story and draw out some principles from that. So there are 5 key principles here that are communicated as far as being elements of the family blessing. So, number 1, a meaningful touch. Number 2, a spoken message. Number 3, attaching high value to the one being blessed. Number 4, picturing a special future to the one being blessed. And number 5, an active commitment to fulfill the blessing. So let's start off with a meaningful touch. Now, this is the one that probably I'm the most uncomfortable with because I'm not really a touchy kind of person. However, Brother Gleason and, of course, the authors of the book, The Blessing, bring across the importance of that touch, that approving touch, that meaningful touch. Of course, in the story with Jacob, as he's interacting with his father Isaac, Isaac says to him, "Come near now and kiss me, my son." And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him. So what the authors and Brother Gleason bring out here is that it makes a difference to show affection to those people that are in our families. In this particular case, of course, referring specifically to children. And so I want to encourage you as a father to show, if you're watching this as a father, to show affection to your children, to make sure that there is some sort of connection there so that they know, based on your physical interaction with them, that you love them, that they are valuable to you. And of course, we know that, we often use the term whenever we're talking about spiritual things, that the Lord touched me, or I felt the touch of God in that situation. And so we recognize when it comes to our interaction with God, just how valuable that is. The second thing is a spoken message. Now, we all know how powerful words are. How our parents communicate to us, how our family communicates, makes a difference in how we turn out as human beings. And so, of course, the encouragement here is to speak blessing, to speak affection, to speak love to our families. Now, of course, in the story of with Jacob and Isaac, Isaac prays over Jacob, and he blesses them. So it's important to note here that, as Brother Gleason does, he says, your children desperately need to hear you speak a message of value to them. Make sure they know based on your words that they are valuable to you. He relates a story from his own growing up years. Of course, his parents are from an older generation, and the words "I love you" were not really spoken in their family. And so he was an adult, grown up, and had an every Saturday call with his parents. This was back in the day when it was cheaper, of course, to make long distance calls on the weekend. And so he got his nerve up, and he said to them at the end of the phone call, "Well, Dad and Mom, just before I let you go, I want you to know that I love you." There was a moment of pause there, and his father spoke up and said, "Well, son, we appreciate you too." And so Brother Gleason was disappointed by that, and so he kept his nerve up, and he said, "I'm going to try it again." So next Saturday, wrapping up the phone call, he tells his parents once again that he loved them. And his mother said, "Well, Stan, we love you too." And then his dad chimed in that he loved him. And this was such a momentous occasion that Brother Gleason, when he hung up the phone, he danced all over the living room. He was smiling for a long time. It was so valuable to him to hear those words. Now, I think in our day and age, of course, it's a lot more common for us to speak words of affection to those around us and our family, to our children. But again, just make sure that you take the time to do that. Number 3 is expressing high value on the one that is being blessed. People, as they say, often will live up or live down to your expectations. And so the encouragement here is to express high value for that person, to let them know that you think that they are valuable. Listen to the words of high value that Isaac spoke to Jacob. He says this, he says, "Surely the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. Therefore may God give you of the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's son bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be those who bless you." Now, of course, Isaac thought he was praying over Esau. So I wonder how Jacob felt when he said, "Let your mother's sons bow down to you," knowing that he was supposed to be one of those sons. It's interesting to think about. However, of course, think about the value of that. In that society, a fruitful field, a field that the Lord has blessed, a field that yields a harvest, was life and death. And so Isaac spoke those words of blessing over Jacob. So don't just notice and comment on the negative things that your children do. Although, of course, as parents, we do have to step up as fathers and correct. But don't let all of your attention be negative. Make sure that you notice the accomplishments. Make sure that you notice the valuable, positive things, positive qualities like politeness, respect, and kindness to others, and affirm, underscore, and reward the behaviors you want to reproduce. That's how Brother Gleason puts it. Number 4, picturing a bright future. Now, Brother Gleason tells a story in the book, and of course, he's so good at telling stories. If you ever heard him speak, you know he's just a phenomenal storyteller. And so he tells a story. A grandmother was cuddling her grandson in her arms, and her son, the father, was sitting close by. And so she looked at her son and said, "How could anyone as dumb and ugly as you produce such a smart, good-looking child?" Now, his mother meant it as a joke, but the son did not receive it as such, and he said, "Stop it. That's all I've ever heard from you. It's taken me years to believe I'm not dumb and ugly. Why do you think I haven't been home in so long? I don't ever want to hear you call me dumb again." She had meant a joke, but then she had meant it as a joke, but then she came to realize just what kind of impact that joke had had on her son. She had kidded her kids the whole time growing up, just like her parents had kidded her about various things like an appearance or intelligence for that matter. So I want to encourage you on this point as you are blessing your family. So again, how a man blesses his family, picturing a bright future. Speak positively over your children's future. Speak positively over their lives. Encourage them that you believe that they can encourage them that you believe that they can succeed and maybe even exceed your expectations. And so every Christian father, as Brother Gleason puts it, can take a cue from Jesus. Jesus said in John 14:12, "Most assuredly I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also. And greater works than these he will do, because I go to my Father." And last, the fifth way that a man blesses his family is an active commitment to their future. And what does that mean? That means that we are actively investing in making them a success. We're actively investing in trying to help them succeed. We're not trying to set up obstacles or roadblocks in their lives that will prevent them. Sure, we can set up some things to strengthen them and help them, to challenges to help them grow. But again, our goal is their success. We want our children to be successful. And Brother Gleason shares a letter that Bubs Roussel, who was 17 on the day that Pearl Harbor was bombed, he joined the Army Air Corps, now known as the U.S. Air Force, became a radio operator on a bomber, and was going out on a mission. And on that mission, he would, in fact, be killed in action. And this is a letter that Bubs wrote before he went on that mission to his parents. He said, "Dear folks, I have left this with instructions to send it on to you if anything happens to me. I send you my love and blessings. My life has been a full one. I have been loved like very few persons ever. I love you all with the best that is in me. It hasn't been hard for me, knowing you believe in me, trust me, and stand behind me in fair or foul. Knowing this has made me strong." And the question that Brother Gleason asks is, would your child be able to write a letter like this to you? Jesus said, "I will never leave you nor forsake you. I am with you always, even unto the end of the world." Make sure that your children know that you are actively committed to their future and to their success. So those are the 5 ways that a man blesses his family. He provides a meaningful touch, a spoken message. He expresses high value on those whom he is blessing. He pictures a bright future for them, and he makes an active commitment to that future being achieved. I don't know about you, but I want to bless my family, and I want to challenge you today to be the type of man that blesses your family.